wherever you own a house, you're gonna pay taxes.
No
so
matter
why
what.
am I gonna pay taxes in a school district that's failing? And yes, I would like to help bring that school district back, but it's a community effort.
Hey family, welcome to the Do You Know Black Kickback. I'm your host, Lamont Carolina, and this is the official after party to the game show, Do You Know Black? Here, we're gonna take questions from the show, break them down, and we're gonna have thought-provoking conversation with our guests. So we're gonna do that, but first I'd love to check out how y'all did on your episode. Let's take a look and then we'll be right back.
I just want to say thank you guys for having me, and this concludes the best part of the episode. Thank you.
I'm still invited to the cookout, so I'll see you guys later.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, give a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
In the words of Russell Simmons, thank you very much. God bless and good night.
So a winner right now, a round of applause. Great job. Yes, sir.
There was
yes,
a
sir.
lot to talk about here. We don't have a lot of time, so I'm gonna dig right into it. Okay, voted off first round.
I know.
Brother, what happened?
Betrayal. Betrayal happened. Betrayal. It's funny. Each person that came that got voted off, after me, I came up to him and I was like, not all skin folk or kinfolk, but but not, in all seriousness, I got voted off. It happens. It's a game show. And
I'm just curious because it looked like you had the blazer.
Yeah,
Blazer with the t-shirt on. So blazer with t-shirt on, you must be coming with some work.
I was feeling lethal. I was feeling
Dangerous weapon.
I was feeling, but I think they probably saw that as well, and they probably say, let's get this guy off. Let's make this more of a fair challenge. I understand that. I respect that. Actually.
Yeah. Sylvia, you got a big smile on your face. Tell me more.
I'm just saying it's just hilarious. For me, I think it was just was that during the practice round? I'm not sure, but Ella Fitzgerald, bro. That was just for me, man. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But you did good though. You did good. Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah,
That's fair. Hey, Brother Lloyd.
It was the Cheryl Swoops thing, man. Because the thing is, he was supposed to handle the sports stuff. That's what I was expecting. He missed the Cheryl Swoops in it. I was like,
But you won.
Yes.
You have a winner's kind of demeanor right now. You got the legs folded to the left. It's just a different kind of look.
I guess it was tough though. Everybody, we were all out there together, and some of it's a little bit of luck. Depends on which questions you get. Because I know everyone says the same thing. They get a question, some passes, you sit there, I knew this one.
Yeah.
It's like, why couldn't I get this one? So, I won, but it was team effort, and it was good to be out there with everybody, and it was a great time.
Yeah.
I got a question over here. Did you perspir during the rounds?
Yes.
Was it like?
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yo,
You still wet right now?
yo,
The back of my neck, it's right here. It was right here.
How was it for y'all two? How was your experience on the show?
It was great. At first, I was like, God, I don't want to not be invited to the cookout, And I'm like, oh man, I might need to study more,
Make it to round two.
Yeah,
Make it to round two.
Make it to round two, But overall, it was a great experience, and we learned from each other, right? So whoever got the answers right, I'm like, okay, I learned from you today.
Exactly.
So, it's all love. It's all love.
And quick one, did anyone learn something new today from the game show?
Yeah,
Man.
Show of hands.
definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely.
All the questions I got wrong.
Exactly.
It was so crazy. It was so crazy in the fact that when I would feel the question coming in and I'm like, okay, he just answered his question and I'm like, I knew that one. He got it wrong and I knew it, Lord. And then I get a question that honestly, out of nowhere.
All right, y'all. So we're gonna move on to the subject matter. I'm gonna read the question, actually from the game show. And to the viewers out there, I'm gonna read it. If you know the answer, type it in the comment section, all right? And you know what? For the loser, actually.
Oh, I'm a loser now.
Wow.
so strong.
I'm a loser.
I mean, you weren't a winner. I mean, what do you want me to call you?
Rude.
But look, the redemption song, right here, all right? So you're gonna answer this one.
Let's get it.
Ready? You look nervous.
No, you're nervous.
The film Suburbicon is inspired by the lives of William and Daisy Myers, the first Black family to integrate what suburb?
It's probably somewhere in Maryland.
3 seconds.
Baltimore, Maryland.
That's your final answer?
Final answer.
Okay, that was way off.
That was way off.
wrong. Way wrong. But it's so. It's actually, so check out the film, by the way, if you haven't seen it, but the answer is Levittown.
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 I should have known that.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
yes. And so we're gonna break that down a little bit and talk about Levittown. After World War II, right, there was an influx of folks who came home and started to work, right? You also had women working at the same time because they were working in factories. What that also meant, with these soldiers coming home, you had a housing problem to solve. So you saw a lot of developments being put up. So one of the first people to build suburbs or these divisions, right, these subdivisions, was a man by the name of William Lovett. So with that, they were able to put up thousands and thousands and thousands of units. I mean, I think at the height of it, they built like 30 something houses in one day. And these houses, by the way, went for at that time, about $7,000.
Wow.
After the war, if you were a vet, if you had fought in the war, you got a GI Bill. The GI Bill covered education, also covered housing, right? In addition to that, banks also gave loans to families to purchase homes. So you had an influx of white people who bought homes at a reduced cost. And then that started, right, which is probably one of the most important things for generational wealth, which is property ownership and handing down property, right, generationally. So with that being said, these Levittowns, unfortunately, but to no surprise, didn't have Blacks. They didn't allow not just Blacks, but pretty much any other ethnicity. It was actually written in the bylaws within these communities that they were not to be sold to Black people in particular, right? So clause number 25, I believe it was. And so you had this family, the Myers, who broke that barrier. They broke the barrier because even though they couldn't buy directly from the company, they were able to buy through someone who was selling their home. So it was a private sell. And so that's how this first family came about and integrated, if you will, or I guess integration is a whole bunch, but they were the first to integrate, which was a segregated subdivision. So with that being said, the first family to do that, they received death threats, obviously. The first day they got there, second day they got there, protests. I mean, these subdivisions even kicked out a white family because they had invited a family of color over to babysit their kids. So this is how, this is the scene that we're setting up here. All right? So now that you have the context there,
Yes.
let's start the discussion, okay?
Wow.
I feel like I'm gonna ask the question here, but I just feel like it looks like there are a lot of thoughts already popping up in people's heads here.
I definitely have some thoughts.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, it's unfortunate because in today's world, and you can just see with just Levittown, right? How the equity was built. So they were able to put their children in college or, capitalize off of that. So that's why our culture was kind of like set back because of that.
Yep.
And it's just kind of unfortunate when you fast forward to today, we're still a culture that is, we don't have many home ownerships.
Yeah, sure.
So it's just like now just trying to get us up there and see the value of equity and how you can just grow generational wealth. So definitely something to learn from.
Right. I mean, I think there's so many different stories within that description that I said there. You have obviously, the home ownership battle and struggle that persists to today, but you also have a situation where Blacks were excluded.
Right.
So written out, literally written out. It wasn't like, all right, you know what? Everyone's excluded. It's like Blacks were specifically written out, which is a whole different context there. Let me ask a question. I'll present it to Sylvia.
Sure.
Okay. So would you move into a neighborhood that didn't want you there if there were benefits to living there? Like school districts, shops, safety?
Are we talking about today or?
Yes, today.
Oh.
Today.
If they did not want me to live there, dang. Not today, no.
Even if your children were guaranteed a great education?
Dang.
And it was in a public school education.
Hell no. Oh, excuse me. No, absolutely not.
I think we're good there. Why not?
Absolutely not. I feel like if I'm moving into a neighborhood that doesn't want me there, and the idea is structured around having my kids have the best education, what exactly are they learning in that school? And I can probably teach them better than anything that that school can teach them just based on the fact that they don't want me there. So, no.
Okay. Does anyone have an
I'd
opposite
rather
opinion?
homeschool them.
Homeschool. Does anyone have an opposite opinion on that?
You know, it's funny you said at this time, because I think era matters. I think if it was, you know, probably during the time when this first started, I'd be like, the hell with everybody. I'm going to move here anyway and put myself in the best position. But today, I don't have to deal with that, right? Because it's a different time. And so to your point, I think I would do the same thing. So I think when I would, you know, the time period matters a lot.
Right. I think of, because I'm a theater nerd, and I think of Raisin in the Sun. That whole production is about them moving into a new neighborhood and education, about this kid being named Travis getting an education and being afforded that and moving into a neighborhood, and they're moving into a neighborhood that they don't necessarily, they're not welcomed. They even have somebody come in and say, hey, on behalf of the staff of the neighborhood, we don't want you here. You know, for me, I would have to agree definitely with Sylvia. Like, I could definitely teach my kids, you know, more than they could ever learn. Because if we think about curriculum and what it is now and today, they're not teaching the curriculum isn't teaching full history. Our full history. They're not teaching a full spectrum of the world. There is just this singular history, this one kind of history. So I would elect to teach my own children.
But I'm gonna push back a little bit. And this is what I do. I'm prodding. I have to prod y'all.
Do it.
Because this is easy, all right?
Let's get to this.
All right, so y'all both here said, and I'm gonna get to you in a minute, Lloyd. Y'all both said, look, I'm gonna homeschool my kid.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
We know how difficult it is as being a Black person already in America, right? The work environment alone, your professional lives, right? I don't know necessarily what y'all do, but I'm sure there's a lot of stress already associated there, right?
Yep.
I'm sure that you probably work more than 40 hours a week, I assume?
Yeah.
I assume. How do you be a parent and homeschool at the same time? What do you sacrifice?
You sacrifice the time that you put into work, and you sacrifice that time to educate your children. I think, just to your point, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes,
absolutely.
And if I'm under the influence that, look, I don't want to move into this neighborhood, I want to educate my child properly, I would band together with a group of people who are like-minded and say, look, we need to do this together. We need to band together. We need to find ways to educate our children together. And we need to make the necessary sacrifices so that we can, you know, make sure that our children succeed. That's it to me. Everything else doesn't really matter as long as I have partnership, and that could be a partner in marriage, that could be a partner in friendship, that could be a village. But as long as we have people that are like-minded.
And why put your kids at risk? Why put, like, I don't want to, because my grandfather, he used to tell me all of these old stories about, he would walk to school. He was raised in Tennessee in the South. So it's like, he used to get spit on by white children every single day when he was walking to school. I don't want don't get it twisted. Like, I know the world is rough as it is, you know, with us, of course, being our skin color, and they will have to face those truths, but I don't want to speed up that process.
So, all right, Sarge, Lloyd. So here we go, right? What does that say about the Myers, who stood in the face of all that and said, you know what? Nah, somebody got to take a stand. Someone has to be the first of this. I don't want to be a civil rights, and that's what they actually said. I don't want to be a civil rights leader. I don't want to be a whatever. I just want to live in a home that I bought that I like, in a neighborhood that I like. But what does this say to the Myers who stood in the face of oppression, who broke down a barrier so others could live in these types of communities?
Right. So I think that back then, it was necessary, right? To say,
What was
hey,
necessary?
that the Myers moved there. To me, it was necessary. As far as, listen, we belong here just as you do, you know? We built this country, us, So that's how I felt. Now, fast forward to today, I feel like we run away from our neighborhoods, right? So just like I always give people the example, like Brooklyn and Newark, right?
Yep.
So Brooklyn, years ago, nobody wanted to live in Brownsville. Best Side.
My hometown, Brownsville.
There you go, Flatbush. But you now, fast forward, is gentrified. You know, they building buildings on 28th Street, and you're like, wait, what's going on, right? And everybody wants to move to Brooklyn, right? You see a whole different culture walking to the train station, and you're like, oh okay, you know?
Yep.
So I live in Jersey, and we have a great mayor, Ras Baraka, in Newark, right?
Ras Baraka.
He's putting in the work. I mean, like on foot in the streets, right? And he's building up Newark. And you have a lot of people that's moving from New York to Jersey, as you're hearing like in the news. And they're like, oh, but not Newark. And I'm like, well, why not? Why can't we build up our community? Yeah. And going back to the school system, we still have to put in the work, right? So I see like we are creating a lot of nonprofits that's like helping out the children's and just a lot of activities in our neighborhoods that's starting to happen. At least that's what I'm seeing. So I feel like we have to put in the work and we have to stop running away from our neighborhoods.
That's great. We're gonna come back to that point because that's a great point. But so is putting in the work, does that mean, oh, I'm gonna let my kids be an experiment with this failing school?
So I probably have a bit of a differing theory on the whole thing than everyone else. And I don't think anyone said anything that's incorrect at all. Like, I think we all kind of have those same feelings. I think once you start, looking at the, I guess the opportunities that your child is gonna have depending on the school district they're in, that's what kind of pushes you to make those decisions.
Yep.
So, and especially public school, because to get your child the education that you can get in that same public school to pay for private school, that might not be affordable at all.
There you go.
And of course, sacrifice. I feel like because we're Black, we're always educating our children every single moment of the day. You have to always educate them, and just because we're doing that doesn't. Remember, we still have to send them to school no matter what, unless you are so fortunate from a family perspective that somebody can, homeschool a child. But it's a bit of a chicken before the egg type of deal with all these communities. And I do agree, like Chai is right, we do have to put into our communities. But at what point do we arm the people that are gonna have the tools to put back into those communities? And the only way is if they have opportunities coming up as they're growing up. And I think it's a balancing act. I think the first thing you said was balance, and it's gonna require balance. I think from a perspective, some people are going to have to move into those communities and utilize the public school system they're paying the taxes to. Because wherever you own a house, you're gonna pay taxes. So why am I gonna pay taxes in a school district that's failing? And yes, I would like to help bring that school district back, but it's a community effort. And everyone has to be involved in that. And unfortunately, and we're all in a position, being Black in America, where you have to make these decisions like, okay, I really wanna help, but I have this young child. Like I can't now sacrifice my child to the cause or potentially sacrifice my child to the cause. If I can move to this district, move to this town where they're gonna get a great opportunity to go up through public school and be able to contribute back. And I think that's the education piece, is telling them like, listen, you come from somewhere and you need to help. Like when you're done, you need to help. And helping comes in so many different formats. And it doesn't have to be, and I think that we need to all kind of understand that it can be really tiny. Like it can be going into the communities, educating kids, helping with education, because of course we all know we don't get the right history. We get the winner's history.
There you go.
So that's a big part of it.
This is all really good content here, really great points I think everybody's bringing up, but I just feel like I'm not getting to the root of it. I feel like there's some more digging that we have to do. The loans that you get based off of, we could talk about the 2000, you're in are you in real estate?
Yeah, I'm a real estate attorney, yes.
Yeah, so 2008, financial crisis also was based off of the housing crisis, right? And what the banks were doing and the deregulation of the industry. Let's talk about that and how that affected Black people. Black people were more impacted than their white counterparts in terms of home ownership, losing property, losing the value in the property. Where does that come from? How did that happen? Because it didn't happen in 2008. It happened before that, right? Talk a little about that.
Well, I know specifically why there was the big crash. A lot of it was because a lot of people were investing in mortgage-backed securities, and a lot of these stocks were accumulated a lot of like mortgages that were kind of considered B, C rated mortgages, where people were less likely to pay off those mortgages. A lot of stocks, usually, if you put them in, I'm like getting all into it. But anyway.
Talk your truth.
Yeah. No, but basically, you know, mortgage-backed security is not necessarily a bad thing, but it depends on the type of mortgages that are inside of that stock, I guess.
So that trickled to the buyers, right?
It trickles to the buyers because what happens is that these mortgage-backed securities that have really low rate mortgages in them, people invest in them. You know, they put their pension in there, they put their 401k in there, all those things. And so when you have the big crash, people, who spent their whole time working, expecting that they're gonna have a good retirement at the end, they lose all their money. They lost all their money. And of course, I make this joke with my friends, is that whatever happens to the white man also happens to the black man 10 times worse, right? You feel it 10 times worse. And of course, when 2008 came, by that time, imagine like if you're looking at history, black people were probably just starting to get homes collectively, or on a second wave of home ownership as far as like passing your home down to the next person. But look at the lead everyone else had over us.
So how does that affect? Because we talk about securities, we talk about all these different elements, the 401ks, we talk about the bad investments, but how does it affect Tyrone and Dana? How does it affect them who were in a home before that crash?
So I can even tell you from my family's perspective, our house went under foreclosure, because now the bank's looking at you like, all right, we lost our money, so we want the money that we loaned you. A lot of those loans are accelerated. Now the bank wants all of the money now. A lot of times too, interest rates go up to a point where it's just you can't pay anymore.
So I think what was also really important about Levittown, right, is the government came in and said, hey, y'all can't have clause number 25 anymore. Get it out of there. That's discrimination, right? But back in the 30s, when the US government tried to come back with programs to fight the Great Depression, what we ended up having was we had all of these programs that were available to Americans to help them get back on their feet from the Great Depression, including all of these home buying opportunities. Guess who was excluded from those opportunities that was put on by the federal government? Black people. And now they're gonna come back 30 years later and tell the Levittown folks that, hey, y'all can't do that, that's wrong. But that's a pattern, it doesn't start, right? If it happens more than 3 times, it's a pattern. So more than 2 times, it's a pattern. So we look at redlining, we look at a couple other things. Tell me about, how does this come into today? What are some of the things that we need to be watching out for?
I could speak to that as per my profession. I'm a realtor. So, you have steering, you have redlining, right? Mm-hmm. So with the mortgages, and also if we still today, I mean, we all watch the news. We seen the appraisal news, as far as.
Tell our viewers about it. What
one couple was trying to sell their home, and when they was trying to sell their home, they had an appraisal, right? Mm-hmm. So they had their picture. So I think they were black and white couple, I want to say, right? And they seen the pictures and they appraised the home for lower. So they ordered a second appraisal, and they took all their pictures away and added, I think one of their next door neighbor was white. So they put all the pictures of her, and their house got appraised for much higher.
Sure.
So our neighborhoods today is golden, okay? Golden.
Yeah.
That's why other race comes in our community, and they just
cheap land.
Yeah, there you go. But it's gold, right?
Absolutely.
So today they are appraising, still to today, because I had to fight some appraisals, and they're still appraising our neighborhoods for lower.
Why is that? Why do you think? What leads to that?
So there's a lot of things, right? there's not enough of us appraising. So, you know, when we talk about what kind of jobs we can have, that's one to especially help us, right?
Yeah.
They don't know our communities.
Yeah.
Or they try to think they don't know, you know, play like they don't know, right?
Right.
And so I think those are the problems.
Okay.
And today, so
Show hands. Homeowners. Anybody here? Homeowner? Ooh.
Bingo.
Okay. Renters. Who's a renter?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody live with roommates? Anyone lived with roommates?
I have before.
I've lived with before.
Yeah.
What were the numbers? I just want to hear. What's the highest?
Shoot, 3.
3 roommates.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 roommates.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible.
What about you? How many?
2.
2?
Yeah.
No, it's not happening.
Not.
Okay.
He's blessed. He's
Fortunate.
yeah, fortunate.
Anyone live home now? Or lived at home in your adult years?
Yeah, before.
For almost a year.
No. There's no home to go back to.
You just, okay.
No home to
Tell me.
It kind of feeds into everything that we're talking about.
Talk
I'm
about it.
First generation. My mom is from Jamaica. So the opportunities that I have, she never had. You know, the opportunity for, my mom's plenty educated, but like she never, coming up, like she was able to kind of put me in a school district that at the time was pretty good, and I could get a good shot at getting a solid education and kind of improving going forward. And like I was saying before, part of the education process was her telling me, like, educating me on our history and also giving me the tools to kind of help other people as well too. I think that all of it kind of comes together, right? Opportunities we have coming up to understand that we need to be appraisers, to understand that we need to have these jobs to actually really help our community. And you said, Lamont, earlier about digging into things, like where are we digging into? We have to dig to the point that our genesis in this country is unique. It's different from everyone else's. No one started with where we started from. Everyone was able to come and create their own neighborhoods and create their own systems. And we've been fighting. And like, I think that they tell us that, the world says that it's been so long. Slavery was however long ago. And, you know, civil rights, it was so long ago. No, it wasn't.
Forget it.
No, it wasn't.
Forget about it. Forget it.
No, it wasn't. I'm sure we have grandparents, great grandparents that couldn't go into places that we can go into now. So no, it's not that long ago.
Yeah.
So we're still fighting that. And I think that we have these discussions and that'll help us begin to put together the plan. Like, I think that was a great point. We don't have enough appraisers. We don't have enough of us in a lot of jobs that are gonna actually help us fight against the things that are happening in our communities.
Right.
And to the communities that we're in and people coming in and buying it up and gentrifying it. Like, we don't have enough people to fight against that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So on my social media, I post about home ownership. I speak to my family, friends, whoever. Also with my community, I'm very involved.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was me reaching out to the councilman, hey, would you like me to talk about home ownership, equity, to even like the girls, right? Like I love us. So it's like, okay, you know, no problem. I'm here for it. Like
in a kickback session.
Yeah, in a kickback, you know? So yeah, that's my contribute. And
Okay.
yeah, especially being a homeowner. Like
Passing down education is just as valuable as passing down gold.
yes.
Right?
Yes.
I love it.
I think for me, when I do become a homeowner, it's more than just owning the home. It's more about injecting myself into the neighborhood and helping the companies, the businesses, the school systems, everything around my home, helping them elevate.
Supporting
them.
yeah.
Absolutely, because to your point, right, I want whoever comes into my neighborhood to feel welcomed and to feel like they're supported and to feel like they can thrive there.
Yeah.
Not just, hey, we have to push beyond just the first step. Right. And we're used to doing that, right? We're used to going above, you know, just the common ground, right? You have to push beyond what you think your limits are to even get to the starting point, right? So if I own a house, I'm gonna inject every ounce of my education, every ounce of my effort, and every ounce of my passion into helping the community around me to thrive and succeed. And
I love it.
You know, that's just what it is.
Yes, girl. Yes.
Get it. That was a great conversation. I want to thank our guests for being such cool people. Y'all all contributed greatly to this conversation. Of course, it could have gone on for probably 2 more hours, but we got to go. So thank you. Also, I want to thank our viewers. Thank you for watching this episode. And remember, check us out on Instagram at DoYouKnowBlack. You can also feel free to engage with us online. Thank you. My name is Lamont Carolina, and this has been Do You Know Black Kickback. See you next time. That was the weakest kick. It was like, I didn't even kick with my left.